distress. It's 5 in the morning, awake without no warning, trying not to feel distressed. It's all so familiar, the hurt that's been killing you, trying to get back to bed. My anxiety's irrelevant, the pain is heaven sent. I wonder how my life's been led. And if this is short term, I wanna feel the warmth when happiness is as they say. It's not easy seeing all your dreams ahead.
All right, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today we have a special guest from the UK, our first guest from outside of the United States, Akso Heart. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm honored to be your first. Excited to be on.
Sorry. I realized I didn't have my mask on. Just forget you guys saw that shit. So the song that we heard in the beginning was your new release. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the song is called Not Easy. It was a song I wrote about feeling anxious and nervous about exploring new territories. So, you know, my background was in science, and I moved into exploring music for the first time during the pandemic. You know, I've released a lot of music since. When I say a lot, just for 3 other tracks. But with this song, I really wanted to focus on that feeling of nervousness.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that, you guys. That we disconnected for just a second. Not sure what happened there, but I'm sorry. Could you re-explain that, because I think that got cut off.
Okay. Well, so the song Not Easy was a track I wrote during the pandemic when I first started exploring music. You know, it explores being anxious when you venture into new territories, when you start something new,
And you said you had 3 other songs?
Yes. So my first track was called No More. That looked at really looking at self-doubt in a way where you're saying, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm really going to go for it. And then my next following track called Changes, arguably my most successful track, and you know, it was played on BBC Radio London, was picked up by BBC Asian Network, and that was about, you know, changes. A lot of my themes are quite similar, but when you have your hopes and your dreams, you know, really accepting that can be a possibility for you. And then my last release was called Trust Me, and that was changing your circle. That was a bit of a different sound, a little bit more typical R&B. I was hugely inspired by like artists like Chris Brown growing up, and I feel like that track really emulates some of that kind of vibe. And yeah, now we're on Not Easy. It's a bit of an R&B hip hop sound, and explores different kind of elements in the music.
Okay, and first 2-part question.
Okay.
How was it growing up in London, and how did that influence the way that you make music?
So, growing up in London, I think what we're really lucky to have is like a vast music scene. You know, we get people who are producers of all different types of sounds. It's so diverse here, musically and just in general. So it definitely has an influence in kind of your inspirations. Craig David is somebody who was an R&B vocalist that explored genres like garage and some of the other kinds of sounds, and he did quite a lot of genre blending, and he was a huge influence for me. But actually, when it comes to my music, I was inspired by K-pop and J-pop. I was in Japan for a little bit over a month, and I got a chance to really explore the music scene there, and it's so it's so eccentric, but it has like a very great musical community. So I would say, although I'm from the UK, there's I've absorbed different influences from quite a few places.
Okay, and what region of the world would you say your was most influential?
Ooh, I think you froze for me a little bit.
Okay, are we good now? We good
I
now?
think you're good. You're good.
Okay, I was saying, what region of the world do you consider the most influential? I mean, to you specifically, I should say.
Again, I would say Japan, just because in terms of stylistically, I feel like they emulate both visuals, how visually that appeals to people. Um, what what can someone take outside just the music? So I think music has has evolved around the world, but I would say for me the biggest influence is Japan, because everything is done so slick. So yeah, that would be it for me.
Okay, well, and we were talking before the interview, and you mentioned that you had some other achievements outside of music. You said you had a PhD. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have a PhD in chemistry, which for a lot of people is quite unusual when you're doing music for the first time, because it's like you're doing something so ultra creative coming from something that seemingly is quite analytical. I studied science most of my life, um, but I've been somebody who I feel like is both analytical and creative. But I never really got to dive into that creative side till actually the PhD, where I started podcasting myself, started doing radio work, and then got into music. So yeah, I have a very unusual background, but I feel like in a way it's made me a bit more analytical and methodical in my approach to music as well.
Okay, and you said you did radio work. Were you like a host or
Yeah, yeah. So I had my show called the Unsigned Showcase, and it again was talking to unsigned artists across London. But we played like games with them. We'd explore their music. Would get them to do live music at our uni radio station. Yeah, I presented and kind of also produced the show. We won a few awards actually. So it was a really really great opportunity to not only connect with artists but look at interviewing and
sorry.
we're freezing, aren't we?
Yeah, it's storming bad here. Just like as soon as
uh,
as soon as we hit the live button, thunder started.
no.
Yeah, so what we'll do is what we do normally when we're in this situation. We'll record the episode. I might have you repeat a couple things, but we'll record it and then I'll edit it post.
Perfect. All
Yeah,
good, all good.
and it's just so you guys know I'm not taking it out or chopping and screwing. I'm not the fucking press. I'm gonna take out all those pauses and freezes so it's a more smooth interview and you guys don't get bored. So bear with me.
All good, all good.
Okay, so where were we? We just talked about your PhD.
He was.
I don't think you have to repeat all of it.
Okay.
I think we only missed like the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, so really the radio was the first opportunity of me exploring music for the first time, and just even as a listener, I really got to dive into what how an artist creates music, how they write, record, work with producers, live performances. So it was a great opportunity for me, and I feel like helped me even now, like talking to other interviewers. It's almost gave me a bit of a media training session, so I like it.
Okay. Have you worked with many artists, outside of the UK? I know you said that you were inspired by a few, But
Mhm.
have you worked with any artists like in different countries or anything like that?
Yeah, so I have a collaboration coming out with Alif Bernard. Um, so Alif is a producer from Germany actually, and he's an incredible like electronic um, alternative kind of sound. So it's very very different to the music that I do. But I have a track which is coming out on his EP. I don't know how much I can talk about it, but yeah, it was an exciting collaboration. Very different as well to work with somebody. Oh no.
Okay, we're back, guys. Okay, we got all of that. It froze like right after you stopped talking. So,
Okay.
yeah, good freeze point. Not good that it froze. Um, okay, what were your first steps? I know you said you had some background in marketing, but what were some of your first steps in really getting your
So I think um, I would say because I went into marketing as a social media manager, as a community manager, also, I understood the value of connecting with people in a variety of different forms. So I kind of do the YouTube videos. I kind of open up parts of my life for my audience because I feel like it's important for them to see it's not all creating music isn't as fun as it sounds. There's definitely loads of elements to it. And I think on social media, you are able to connect with people from all across the world. So it's definitely a very powerful tool in how I promote my music and how I get people to listen to my music. Um, I think it's arguably the biggest thing for me, I think, is social media because I'm able to connect with people like yourself. You may not have ever heard of me before, but to be able to connect over social media, I think it's a cool thing. I know it gets a bad rep, but I feel like it's a powerful tool, especially for creatives.
well, I mean, that's a good example too because honestly, like you're right. I mean, before you messaged me like, "Hey, I saw your stuff." I didn't know who you are, but as soon as that, as
Yeah,
soon as I got that message, I started scrolling through your stuff and I started seeing things that I liked, and now, I'm following. I got you on the show,
yeah.
So I mean, I definitely, I mean, you can see the product for yourself, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I think for musicians, we're in a new space of music. It's not going to the shops and buying a CD anymore, or downloading off a website. It's really supporting artists through these social media platforms. Everyone has an Instagram, well, relatively everyone, not everyone, but they have these platforms where they're able to connect with their friends, family, but also people that are there to support their craft. So although there is some downsides to that, I think there's a lot of benefit to it.
Yeah, for sure, and I think people underestimate the. I mean, okay, so before I say this, let me say a disclaimer. I do not support starting drama. Okay, what I'm saying is people underestimate the value of the drama that other people start on your pages. Like, let them talk in the comments. That's just boosting the algorithm for your posts and stuff like that. And a lot of times they won't even be like, I thought at one point like all these people were getting so much hate, and it turns out the people weren't even hating; they were arguing about the other people in the fucking comments.
Right, right.
And
I think, yeah, I feel like you said, like the haters are boosting your post. They're engaging with it in a way, and you have to be you have to cause conversations with what you do, whether that's positive or negative. That's the purpose of trying to reach an audience. You want a conversation to be had, and there's stuff that you can learn. So I have received sometimes some negative things, and I've taken from that. I'm like, actually, okay, there's things that I can work on, but at the same, and I just feel like you don't need to pay them attention if it hurts you, and if you think it's gonna take you away from what you're doing, then just ignore it. And that's what I engage with them. I feel like it's funny to me. If you have taken the time out of your day to comment on anything that I'm doing, I'm still grateful. So Yeah, thank you, haters.
Yeah. Hey, and make sure before we go any further, plug your content.
And Spotify. So on each platform, I do something different. So hopefully, there's a lot of content for you to absorb. I'm really focused on the visual side of things on my Instagram. If you scroll through my profile, I love the photos, love the colors, love creating blends. And then on YouTube, I do artist interviews similar to this one, but also I have a vlogging series where it's called No One Asked for This, and I show bits of my musical journey. So yeah, on all social platforms, AXO, AKSO, and then Heart, HEART.
And have you looked into like maybe doing merch or anything like that?
I am working on a special project which I haven't solidified yet, so I don't know how much I can say about it. But I have my own style and a signature look, so I'm looking to exploring things that people can, not only support the music but support some of the other creative stuff that I'm doing. So not yet, but in the works.
Okay, heck yeah. And every artist has to have their own
Merch.
brand. Well, merch, yeah, but a brand, because without a brand, you have no merch.
Yeah, I think visuals are important, like I said, to me. So merch is definitely something I've looked into anyway. But like you said, it's part of your branding, like who you are. Like even yourself, like there's a theme to your podcast, and you look like there is a vibe to it. So I feel like when you see on a lot of my pages, I am everyone is unique in what they have to offer. So I'm hoping that that kind of branding is going to help some of the merch that I am planning to put out soon.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, so is there like would you consider your look inspired by some of your favorite artists, or like cuz me what just to be crystal clear, um when I do my music, I don't just do one thing. Like I grew up listening to Pac, Jay Z, um, anything from that to Sarah McLaughlin to fucking shit UK drill rapping to
Hmm.
fucking country music. Like, and I took all those genres and all those artists and combined them into what I do.
Mm.
So when I say
Yeah,
inspired, I don't mean that you directly rip your shit off, but
right. No, yeah, I definitely was inspired by 90s R&B. I feel like that sonically, that was something that I really took forward it within my music and my kind of vocal style as well. But even in terms of looks, I love that 90s edge, but with a modern twist. And part of my visits to Japan as well, I think I'm hugely influenced by their fashion there. So I think I've blended the two. I feel so, but again, it's not always that one thing, right? It's I love some of the classic looks that some of the old singers in my genre used to look like and dress like. So I think I can't say I have one specific style, but I think I'm forming that. So yeah, I've been inspired by a lot of different things. Next interview, we want to see the suit.
hey,
Hey.
give me just a second, guys. I'm sorry. Come on, Zane. All
Wanted
right.
to get in. Yeah, I think he's. I was going to say. I think he's a future podcaster. I think he wants to get in on the action.
Yeah. When they were young, and like still cradle size, I would have them in here while I did my gaming and stuff, and I'd give them a keyboard that wasn't connected.
Right.
So now they know when I'm in here, they want to come in here and play.
Play.
But yeah, yeah.
Good.
Where were we? Okay, so we were talking about inspirations. We talked about your fashion. If you had to pick, and I never give people just one option. If you had to pick your top five artists, five famous and five that are underground that you would like to work with in the future, who would you choose and why?
Oh, this is a hard question. I would say Frank Ocean is one artist that I feel like is a great storyteller. I think he really, when he works on any project, every one of the materials that he has worked on has a story that you can hear, and that you can tell. There's a theme to it. It's well thought out. So he's definitely somebody I'd love to work with. Timberland also. I think as a producer, he understands sound. Like his sounds are iconic and almost shaped music for when, back when he was working with Justin Timberlake or Nelly Furtado, or he did his kind of like Asian flavoring with his music. Like he really understands music in an intelligent way. So I always say I'd love to work with him. I did mention Craig David. I feel like as an artist, he's really inspired me to do music, and I think sonically I'd love to, and just in a career wise, I'd love to emulate his career. He was quite big back when I was growing up, but I feel like he's really maintained his voice, maintained his image, and is still as influential, I think, to music in the UK as he did before. And another person I would mention. Okay, so that was three. Two more. I would say Dawn Richard. Dawn Richard. She was part of making the band back in the day. Was something I loved watching. It's a cheesy reality show, but I really loved it. She was part of a band, but I was able to follow her music through some of the work she did with Diddy and Dirty Money. That was the group name. She really understands music in a super different way. She doesn't follow rules as an R&B, potentially R&B artist. She explores different music. So yeah, I would say her and Naughty Boy. He's not underground, so none of these artists are super underground. But Naughty Boy is another producer I'd love to work with. He followed me on Instagram the other day, and I'm gassed. So I hope one day, I don't want to jinx that, but I hope one day that I can write with him. He's worked with artists like Emily Sandé, Leona Lewis, Beyonce. He's worked with a variety of different talents. And as a South Asian, I think he really, I'm like proud of the work that he does. He's opening doors for artists like me. So one day, I hope, I'm putting this out in the atmosphere, that I will work with him. So yeah, those are a few artists. They kind of cover a few different genres actually, but it'd be a dream to work with any one of them.
Okay, heck yeah. I mean, sorry.
I didn't even rehearse that answer. It just came out. Like you can see,
No,
I'm dying to work with them.
Yeah, that's passionate. I had to get that cat off me. I don't know where these things keep creeping in from.
Everything's distracting. Babies, cats. It's all happening. Storms. It's all happening today.
And that's crazy because the storm's over now. It was like
Oh, great.
like a 5 minute storm. We've been steady streaming for like the past 5-10 minutes, so we're good. And I was looking back, they're not as bad as I thought. Like 2 seconds feels like a fucking hour. Love, those little 2 second pauses. All right, so tell me about your first live performance.
My first live performance. I was part of a open mic group that used to kind of have vocal rehearsals in a studio next to a pub, which was empty during a Sunday. So we used that space to perform live and rehearse. So those were my first experience performing in front of a relatively, a good number of people. I've always found that quite, like at the start, I think because I was concerned with other things, I found it quite easy to get on stage and sing. But as we've gone on, and my first show as an artist, as an original music artist. I did a an acoustic show at the Moustache Bar, which is in Dalston in London as well. Um, and I worked with the guitarist, but and the crowd wasn't even big. It was a handful of people, and I was super nervous. I was super nervous. I think the pressure of doing your own music and expecting a reaction. I think, you know, like if I do gigs now and I know, okay, let me put a couple of covers. If people are unfamiliar with my music, at least they will like vibe with kind of iconic sounds. So I think I'm learning to get comfortable in that space. But my first performance was an acoustic performance of my single No More. I also done some unreleased music. But it was nerve wracking. It was nerve wracking. I'm an anxious person as well, so it was okay. It went fine in the end, but the build up to it was, yeah, it was a mess. If you saw me then, you'd be like, yeah, don't go on stage.
Hey, but
So
but it's only natural. Like I'm sure there's not one artist who wasn't nervous their first time in front of crowds of people. I was nervous. My first show was like 58 people, and I was like, oh shit, you know. And I had
exactly.
sat there like through 10 other artists, just watching, you know, watching them do their thing and get reaction. Then some artists did their thing and everybody was quiet and just on their phone. I was like, ugh. You know?
Yeah,
And then, I'm
it's you know,
next, me.
it's a hard thing performing live. I think that especially when you are starting, you know, you're part of a different roster of artists that are performing, and there's pressure because you look at some of the other artists and you're like, damn, they're incredible. I have to go next after that. Like it's a lot of pressure. Or you see the crowd and they're not paying attention. So it does, you know, it does stress you out. I did 2 headlining shows since, and although I was kind of like happy that people were coming to see me and my music, and I was learning to be more comfortable, it's still a lot of pressure, you know, it's still a lot of stress every time you go up. But I don't think that ever goes away. I think you'll always have that, but you just learn to deal with it in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it helps you grow and helps you because once you get over, if you can get over your fear of stage fright, then networking becomes 1,000 times easier.
For sure.
Like, hey, if you can get up on a stage and just talk for about anything for a little while, much less do music, then yeah, you should have no problem being charismatic to the people that you know you need to do business with.
Right.
You were telling me that you had a
Right.
background in photography, and I see a lot of these pictures. How was it for you picking out someone to
Fantastic. Okay, like it's nerve wracking. It's stressful. It's horrible. I don't, even if you're working with a super talented photographer. So it has been difficult, but I've been very lucky to work with some incredible talent. My first shoot was done with William, who was a friend of mine actually, and he has his own studio. William Henry Studios, I think, is his Instagram. If anyone's interested, I can show you the links. He was really great because he made me feel comfortable, and the images were incredible that had come out of it. I have worked with some photographers that are just there to take the pictures and then they'll walk away. But luckily, everything you see on my profile, I've worked with super engaging photographers. And I think for me, because I am a nervous person in front of camera, I feel like I need somebody who's able to make me feel comfortable, and they've all done that. So yeah, it's hard selecting the right photographer, but I'm a fan of their work, so that's normally how I approach them in the first place. And I know they're going to deliver some great images.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Because if you're already a fan of them, that's always a plus. It would have been
Yeah,
different if you had to just pick one from, you know, just out of the phone book or something like that. And that's why I have a love hate relationship with the internet. It's like I can look up anything, but at the same time,
well, no,
there's go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just going to say, nowadays everyone's a photographer, right? Everyone's doing pictures like on Instagram, and they're claiming to be photographers. So I think you can find loads of people that will happily take pictures of you, but it's actually finding the right person to fit your style, to fit your theme. And again, like from my Instagram, there is a certain visual like style that I use, and I feel like I wouldn't work with somebody who's not able to replicate that. Or if I have a new concept project in the future, I'm going to look for somebody who's able to really capture that. So yeah, it's just about really looking at their portfolio, right? As artists, right? Somebody's going to check out your music to know what kind of music you do, what's your sound. So rather than just checking your like profile and seeing rapper, singer, hip hop, whatever, you need to really understand what they do. So I think yeah, I was lucky to find some great people.
Hell yeah. Okay, so we're coming up on our time here. So as our closing question, and this is the one I try to squeeze in at the end of all of them. Um, if you had some, and believe it or not, the answer for this is different almost every time. If
Oh, okay.
you had to give some advice to someone who is coming up in the industry, and not just the industry broadly, but specifically the genre and lane that you're in, what would you tell them as a new artist coming from someone more experienced?
I feel like I'm a baby in the game to give anyone really advice on anything. But if I did see somebody, or if even myself, if I could talk to myself when I first started, I would be I would say enjoy it, and don't stress about it. And what you have to offer is you. I think in this world of social media, in this world of such an oversaturation of music, there's a lot out there, and you have to compete against a lot of noise that is there. Not let that consume you. Kind of, we spoke off air originally saying, like, how is the release going, right? And for a lot of people, you're stressing out about, I need to contact this person, I need to try and get radio plays, I need to get playlists, I need fun and the joy that the music is about, why you started doing music. So my advice would be totally enjoy it, and remember that what you have to offer as an artist is you, and people are gonna support you for you. So don't worry about trying to emulate someone else, or if somebody's doing something even better than you, it doesn't ever matter. Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
All right. So everybody, make sure you go follow Akso,
Axo.
AKSO, not Asco, Akso Heart on Instagram and Spotify. What other platforms do you have? Go ahead and plug yourself one more time.
Yeah, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I'm most active on Instagram and YouTube. Of course, Spotify is where you'll find my music, but it's all Akso Heart, so AKSO and then HEART.
And don't forget, he's got new projects coming out very soon. He did just put out um, the project. Was it today
Now,
that it dropped?
yeah, so it just released today. Not Easy is out now. It's a great track. I hope people vibe with it. But yeah, if you check out my catalog, I'm an R&B pop vocalist that explores different genres like garage, hip hop, and yeah, loads of different things. So please do connect.
And to end this, I want to say my bad to everybody, and sorry, Axo, about the connection issues. I did not expect a thunderstorm today. We had a 20% chance of a rain, and yeah, it did a whole lot more than rain. So we're gonna do this one a little differently for everybody that's live. If you want to see the edited version of the interview, it'll be up by Monday afternoon. That way you can watch it through without the connections and the lags, and it'll be a better viewing experience for you guys. But still share this link until then, until I get the new one out, because every view on this video also helps get viewers over to his Instagram and his Spotify and stuff like that. So make sure you're still sharing and still supporting, and I'm also going to share the link Monday afternoon. So thank you guys so much for viewing the podcast, most of my views are after the podcast. So you beautiful bastards that show up late, make sure you leave a subscribe. Make sure you go follow, well, both of us on all platforms. All links will be in the description of the edited video on Monday because I don't want to do that twice. But yeah, I'll put all of them in. Actually, I'll do them in this one. I'll just copy and paste. So thank you, Akso, for being with us, and thank you, everybody, for sticking around until the end.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great pleasure to talk with you, and yeah, thank you so much.